Hello, everyone. I just wanted to give you a quick update regarding our FieldWire subscription. You will see, as of about a week ago here in July of 2023, FieldWire added the project management module for us for Genco, and it includes RFIs and submittals. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I did want you to know about a couple of features that you will notice with that. So this is in beta test right now. We're not making this across the board something that we're going to actually implement just yet because we already have, as you know, in files, RFIs and submittals are already here. So we're going to test this out and see if we want to utilize that as part of our future workflow. But it is important to know a couple of key things. When you notice this on your new projects, it will already be set up on here and included. And you will notice down here when you go to people, a lot of folks are getting this what appears to be a error message, but this is not necessarily an error message. It's just not been completely set up out of the get-go. When these projects are set up, Christine is now resolving this issue right off the bat, and I've included in this video a session that I had with FieldWire where they actually demonstrated how to address this when you notice it in the future, what that means, what the settings are. So feel free to continue to watch this. But when you notice this, it's not an error. It's actually just asking us to take additional steps. And this is strictly related to the project management tasks over here on the left-hand side for RFIs and submittals. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but continue to watch the demonstration put on by FieldWire, and it'll explain it a little bit more. And that's when this is you notice this for new people that you're adding to the project after the projects are set up. So we'll also talk a little bit about older projects of how you can toggle it on if that you choose to use those features. So it is available to add to existing projects, but it will come automatically set up for new projects, and you should have those set up before you actually get this message going forward from this day. But when you do see that, hopefully this helps to clarify why that is. So again, this is strictly related to just signing the people on the project to a company for RFIs and submittals, and that's just part of the workflow for how they track that. So anyway, I hope this video helps. So with the new rollout of the project management add-on in our current subscription status, right? So it looks like this is all the newer jobs we're starting to see this. It seems like it's defaulting to having those features in the project. So some of the older projects, I don't see that on there, but we are noticing that, and so there's some confusion about people getting quote unquote error messages. So I think I just wanted to chat with you, and hopefully we with this video recording we can let our team know what the expectations are, what the functions, features, and benefits are, how to toggle those on and off if possible, because in some cases we may want to test it on some projects but not others, and it looks like we're able to toggle them on very easily, but it doesn't look like, even as an administrator, that I could go on there and say turn off project management for this project.
Correct. So right now, you'd have to reach out to one of us, to anyone from FieldWire, and we can go ahead and turn it off for the project.
Okay.
As a default, since it is part of your subscription now, it is going to be default to turn on for every project.
Okay.
Is that going to be an issue?
Since we don't know how we're going to use it, if you look through some of our projects right now, we already use the files tab for submittals. We use that for RFIs. So I guess it's up for consideration of, are we going to use these new tools for our workflow, or are we going to continue to use the workflow that we've already kind of invented for ourselves, see what works best for our team? And I think I think we need to test it out and see how it goes. But I guess if one of the things that I'd like to at least have you demonstrate to us is, when we have a new job that's set up, and then because I think what you and I were talking about yesterday was adding the people to the company, and it doesn't sound like we can just default automatically say, okay, well, everybody's Genco,
with the Genco email address, and then we just add the one-offs. But so I think I'd like to kind of see how do we, if we're going to test this out, what's the easiest way to add the people to the company and the company to the project, so on and so forth. So
Yeah, so let's actually, we can just start right here. So yeah, the people tab down here, and this is just a quick overview. I'm more than happy to give like a more in-depth training if you guys decide to actually use the features later on to anyone on your teams. That's not a problem. Just to jump into the people tab here. So yeah, you'll notice it's broken out by the different companies now. And you'll see, you know, here it says people that are not assigned to a company. Really all you need to do when you're setting up a new project is just go ahead and click on new company. And then here you have the option to create the company name and the company code. So this company code will be 5 letters, and it will be used to automatically number your RFIs and submittals when you use RFIs and submittal tools.
okay,
But since you guys should be pretty straightforward, just go ahead and create a company name, Genco, and then company code could be Genco as well, since it's 5 letters.
okay,
Go ahead and click on add. And then from here, you can go ahead and maybe if you have people already invited to the project, you want to just go ahead and click on their names, click on move to company with this red action button here.
okay,
And then here you can go ahead and just select Genco.
okay, fair enough.
But when you start a new project, you go ahead and just create Genco. And then from here, you can go ahead and invite everyone you need to, and it'll automatically list them as Genco.
Okay, perfect. So like right now, we may default on average to somewhere around 15 to 20 people when we set up a new process, or I'm sorry, a new project. So part of our process is we have, you know, some workflows in place that when we get awarded a new project, then there's a series of events that trigger us to create a project here in FieldWire.
Mhm.
So right now, we're very easily adding them to the project. And so all we would have to do then is I guess we could click at the top there, select all, and then just add Genco, and we're pretty much golden. So the only other people we would want to add is external users, maybe like you have here, architects, consultants, engineers, things like that. We would just add them as needed in their company.
Correct.
So it doesn't look like we have to set up company names, company addresses, all that good fun stuff, right?
Nope. All you need to do is just create Genco right there for you guys, for yourself. And then
Excellent.
if you wanted to do any additional external companies, you could.
Okay.
That's really only if you want to use RFIs and submittals.
Okay, and it looks like now we have 2 levels of access to the right there. So we have field access, so admins, and then managers. So we have a lot of the same type of selectors, if you will. So okay, I get it. So admin is for everything up in field management, and then project management, you're either a manager or a contributor, right? Those are our 2 choices.
Correct. So field access is the exact same settings you've been using before. So those will remain unchanged for however you set up your projects. The only one that will change is PM access. If you're not even using the RFIs and submittals feature, I wouldn't even worry about it.
Okay.
As is, not a problem. If you are going to be using it, the only difference between the manager and contributor is regarding the RFIs. Managers can send RFIs externally to other companies, whereas contributors can only send things internally. So if you have like a foreman on site that wants to draft up an RFI, they can be a contributor, and then they won't be able to send it externally to like the GC or architect without, you know, the manager's approval.
Okay, can you give me a 2-minute run through of RFI and submittals in project management?
Yeah, definitely. So just to give you a high level view, this is the RFI tool right here. You have the RFI log, so you can think of this as like replacing, you know, like an Excel spreadsheet that you have to update manually. It'll tell you, you know, whose court it's in, the due date, what the status is, as well as the company code there. So for your guys' case, you would see Genco 0001 and so on. So that this kind of helps you keep track of, if you have multiple contributors on your platform, who's creating the RFI and where is it going. And then we also have the activity log here. So here you can see, the entire life cycle of the RFI. So when it was created, when the question was asked, if you email it externally. So if someone's not on FieldWire, but you still want to email it to them, you can do that from here.
Okay.
As well as, when it was answered and when it was closed and distributed. So really great way of, being able to see who actually saw this and received it.
Okay, and these are generated in PDFs, correct?
Yep, so you can go ahead and click download PDF. And then here we'll be able to see, it'll have your logo there,
Okay.
as well as the attachments and any that's linked to.
Okay.
What's great about this RFI log is, so this RFI log will automatically update depending on the status. You can also turn a task into an RFI very easily. So let's say there is an issue with this sync, or maybe let's go ahead and say, let's just pretend that there's an issue with this wall completion. Go ahead and click on the attachment, click on RFI. You can go ahead and create a new RFI. And then from here, create a draft. And what it will do is it'll actually pull in the photos if you had any, and allow you to start typing that RFI very quickly.
Okay.
So that's kind of a quick overview of RFIs. You also have watchers here as well, similar to a task watcher. If you want to CC someone on it, maybe keep them in the loop. So it does allow you to kind of generate your RFIs pretty quickly. You can also do it from an iPad and, maybe have someone in the field type it up, have your PM on the computer, proofread it, make sure everything is good to go, and then send it off.
All right. I think for us, one of the challenges we have is a lot of the general contractors require us to put things in like Procore and other formats. And so it's complicated for them to take a PDF that we've created in this software and then convert it to their software. Sometimes it's double duty, but occasionally there are instances where, we could possibly test this out and give it a whirl. But again, the biggest hurdle that we've had is a lot of people are seeing the big red bar at the top and it says you must add them to the project, or to the company, and they're thinking that this is an error that's causing a lot of issues in the background, but doesn't look like that. It's just indicating that we have not established their credentials for the project management side of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, you're talking about like the bar up here at the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So we've had a lot of questions in the last few days of, oh my God, what is this? And why am I getting this error? And it's like, oh no, that's just part of the new add-ons that we now subscribe to.
Yep. And so just to get rid of that error, all you really need to do is just go ahead and create that Genco company, and then you can keep using FieldWire as you were using it before.
Okay.
And then next, just jumping into submittals really quickly. Well, actually, before we get into that, so I know you mentioned using, the GC's platform a lot. Are you still like maintaining like a log for like your own status and kind of like your own records of, what your RFIs are and whose court they're in and things like that?
We use FieldWire to do most of that. If you look at our projects in FieldWire, you'll see that in the files tab, that's where we track submittals that are approved, in review, other trades submittals, those kind of things. So we've already established a workflow in the files and forms. And then RFIs will typically create a task and then call it RFI, and we'll hashtag RFI or put a the category as RFI, and then we can filter those out separately. So we don't have to spend a bunch of time creating logs to track this has 24 RFIs or anything. We just look for anything that's tagged or categorized as RFI.
Got it. Okay. Do you think there would be any value in maybe kind of like this activity log here, making sure, in a couple of years, or like, oh, I didn't receive this RFI, or helping you kind of win arguments just on distribution of RFIs or information like that?
Possibly, but we're pretty good about pressuring, the GC/owner to answer those. And a lot of times since we're capturing that in the task, we get a very similar readout to what you have on the right side especially because we're using external users, right? We're sending them to external users through FieldWire. So we're getting a lot of this same correspondence. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just trying to read through a couple of those. So approve, proceed. Yeah. So it's just complicated because we're a subcontractor and we're at the mercy of
The
what
GC.
each general contractor wants to do. And I mean, there's dozens and dozens of different platforms that they're all using out there.
Got it. No, that makes perfect sense. Okay, yeah, let's jump into submittals really quickly. Same thing with submittals, pretty similar view here. You have the submittal log. This kind of replaces like a submittal spreadsheet, kind of just tracking, whose submittals are in what court, the status of it. Let's go ahead and click on one of these. Similar view, you can, assign it, send it out. You'll also notice, so if you had maybe your vendors on here, you could request a submittal from them, have them uploaded directly to FieldWire. You can go ahead and review it. Go ahead and mark it up as well. You can add some additional comment things like that. You can even stamp it on here as well. And then you'll notice the entire life cycles in here. So if you have to revise and resubmit, you can go ahead and have the revision 1 and have them resubmit it. And then go ahead and kind of go through the entire life cycle here. So you can kind of keep track of all those different revisions and so on.
Okay.
And then these will have the similar activity log here. So you can see, the entire life cycle, if it's been emailed to anyone outside of FieldWire, when the revisions are created, and when it's closed and distributed and to who.
Yeah, very cool. And do you know where the API stands in terms of integrating with external softwares like Vista or Procore? Is that something that you're aware of, or is that a different group?
Yeah, I can definitely help facilitate some of that a little bit. So the API, it is open API. I know that is available for you guys now as well. It would require development on your end to actually make that integration. We don't have any out-of-the-box integrations at this time with like Vista or anything like that. But yeah, I can send you some resources on the API on how that works. But it would be up to you guys to kind of get a developer involved to kind of build that connection.
Okay, yeah, I think that knowing what it can do, when it's available, and how we integrate it, I mean, that could help us with, sometimes RFIs generate change orders. And so then now all of a sudden you have this integration that helps us keep track of change orders. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes from here.
Yeah,
integrating those APIs.
And we also are working on a change order beta, or it's currently in beta right now.
Okay.
I did show Kelly it. We gave him a little demo and he was interested once the beta is complete. So we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop on that as well. That
Perfect.
Have some, not right away, but eventually the goal is to have API integration with, an ERP, but that could be a ways out.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to run me through this, and now I can at least pass on to the team here. When they see that red bar, this is a very simple, it's not an error, it just means we have to update some settings for the folks on PM access side.
Yep, and I'll go ahead and send you a follow-up email, and then you can kind of just send it out to whoever needs to see it.
Excellent. Matter of fact, are you able to share this video with me?
Yep, I can do that.
Perfect. And then I can just put a link to that for everybody to do a quick review.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time.